My wife died 3 years ago. Now I have to hide our daughter from her. My wife has been dead for 3 years, but last week she sent our daughter a doll. It started small. I wish to God it had stayed small. 3 weeks ago, I found a single pressed primrose on the windshield of my truck. That was Linnea's flower, the one she'd tucked behind my ear to make me laugh. We had a whole language of them. Primrose meant I can't live without you. I brushed it off. A leaf blown in from a neighbor's garden, a cruel coincidence. I had to believe that. I have a daughter, Cora, who is 7. She has her mother's eyes. When she looks at me, I can't afford to fall apart. Not again. I moved in with my parents after Linnea died. A drunk driver blew through a stop sign while she was on her morning run. The police said it was instant. I hope they weren't just being kind. 3 years on, her running shoes are still by the back door. I can't bring myself to move them. A week after the flower, I found a river stone on my pillow. It was smooth, dark gray, with a single white band running through it. The kind of stone you find on only one beach, a tiny cove in Maine, where I asked her to marry me. We filled our pockets with them that day. That's when the cold dread started to seep in. I went downstairs. My mother was making pancakes, the smell thick in the air. Cora was at the table, drawing. A normal morning. "Did you go in my room last night?" I asked my mom. She turned from the stove, her face a web of concern. "No, Amos." "Why?" "There was a rock on my pillow." Her smile was sad. "You've been tired." She thought I was losing it. Maybe I was. I called my dad at his office. He knew nothing. The stone sat heavy in my pocket all day, a cold, dense piece of an impossible puzzle. There was only one other person, Tamsin, Linnea's best friend since childhood. They were two halves of a whole, and when I came along, I think Tamsin saw me as an intruder. After Linnea's death, she'd vanished, sent a single wreath to the funeral, and that was it. My hand shook when I dialed her number. "What do you want, Amos?" Her voice was flint. "Did you leave something on my truck?" A flower, a pause. "No." "What about a stone? A gray stone from Maine." "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, but her voice was tight, strained. "Linnea's gone. Let her rest." She hung up. I tried to forget it. I focused on Cora, on my job, on the crushing, day-to-day rhythm of being a single father. I told myself it was a prank, a sick, elaborate joke from someone who knew our history. It had to be Tamsin. It felt like her brand of quiet cruelty. Then came the doll. I picked Cora up from school last Tuesday. She came running out, clutching this thing to her chest. It was a small, hand-stitched creature made of burlap, with mismatched button eyes and a jagged red smile. A worry eater. Linnea used to make them. She'd tell Cora to whisper her fears to it before bed, and the doll would eat them while she slept. "Look." Daddy Cora's face was pure joy. "Mommy left it for me. The teacher said a lady dropped it off." I took the doll. The stitching was uneven, frantic, but it was unmistakably Linnea's style. The thread was the same weird teal color she loved. My blood went cold. This was not a store-bought toy. This was made by hands I knew. Hands that were supposed to be dust. "What did the lady look like, honey?" My voice was hollow. Cora shrugged. "I don't know. She had dark hair. She told Miss Gable it was from Mommy. Tamsin has dark hair." I called the police. A tired-sounding officer took my statement. He said they'd look into it. I knew what that meant. Nothing. I was just another grieving husband cracking under the strain. The dam inside me broke. This wasn't a prank anymore. This was a violation. My daughter. She had crossed the line with my fucking daughter. I got Cora settled with my parents. Told them I had to work late. Then I drove to Tamsin's house. She lived in the same place she always had. A small, isolated house at the edge of the state forest. The kind of place where you could scream and no one would hear. Her car wasn't there. Good. I'm not proud of what I did next. I found a window at the back of the house, pried it open with a tire iron from my trunk, and slid inside. The house was cold. colder than the autumn air outside. It was neat, sterile. No pictures on the walls, no life. It felt like a museum of a person, not a home. I was looking for a box of our things, photos, letters, anything she could be using to fuel this sick obsession. I moved down the hall, my boots silent on the hardwood. At the very end of the hall was a closed door. A faint, sweet smell came from under it. Lavender. Linnea's favorite soap. My heart was a hammer against my ribs. I pushed the door. She was sitting on the edge of the bed. Linnea. She was wearing the gray sweatpants and pink running shirt she had on that morning. Her blonde hair was tied back in the same messy ponytail. She was holding a needle and thread, stitching another worry eater. She looked up, and she smiled. Not a happy smile, not a surprised smile. Just a placid, empty smile. I knew you'd come, my love. The world tilted. The air left my lungs. My mind was just a roar of static. I stumbled back, my hand searching for the wall to hold me up. It couldn't be. It was a mask. A trick. Then Tamsin spoke from behind me. I had to, Amos. I spun around. She stood in the hallway, looking like a ghost herself. Her face was gaunt, her skin pale. Her dark hair was streaked with gray I'd never seen before. She looked 20 years older than the last time I saw her. I couldn't live in a world without her, she whispered, her eyes fixed on the thing on the bed. I found something, in the woods, an old way. I stared at her, then back at the woman wearing my wife's face. What did you do? She can't leave the house, Tamsin said, her voice cracking. That's the rule. She gets cold. She doesn't need to eat. She just remembers. And she wanted to give you things, to let you know. I was just helping. Linnea stood up and walked toward me. Her movements were fluid, perfect, too perfect, like a doll animated by strings. Have you liked our gifts? She asked, her voice the exact melody I remembered. But the notes were hollow. There was no warmth in it, no life. I shrank back as she reached for me. What are you? It takes a price, Tamsin said, her body trembling, to keep her here. It needs pieces of a life to anchor her. She gestured vaguely at her own withered form. Linnea's fingers brushed my cheek. The cold was absolute. It was not the absence of heat. It was a presence, a devouring, chilling void that felt like it was stealing the warmth from my bones. I looked into her eyes. The blue was there. Linnea's cornflower blue. But it was flat, dead, like looking at a photograph. There was nothing behind the color. No, I choked out, scrambling backward. You're not her. I turned and fled. Tamsin cried out my name, a sound like tearing fabric. The thing that looked like my wife just stood there watching me go, that same empty smile on its face. I burst out the front door and ran to my truck, my lungs burning. I didn't stop driving until the sun came up. That was a month ago. A month of silence. A month of me sleeping with a chair wedged under my bedroom door. A month of looking over my shoulder, seeing Linnea's face in every crowd. Then, this morning, my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered. Tamsin is gone now, Amos. It was Linnea's voice. But it was wrong. Each word was perfectly pronounced, perfectly spaced, like a machine reading a script. She gave all her pieces, the voice said. It's just me now. It's quiet here. I'm lonely. A pause. Cora must be lonely too. My blood turned to ice. Tamsin was the anchor. Tamsin was the fuel. And now the fuel was gone. Bring our daughter home, Amos. I want to see her. We can be a family again, in this house. The line went dead. So now I'm here. I'm sitting in my truck, parked down the street from that cold, quiet house. The lights are on. I can see a shape in the living room window, standing perfectly still, watching, waiting. It wants my daughter. The thing wearing my wife's skin and speaking with her voice wants my little girl. And the most fucked up part, the most goddamn awful, terrifying part. Some small, broken piece of me, the part that still wakes up reaching for her side of the bed, wants to walk up to that door. It wants to believe the lie. It wants to see her face again. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to protect my daughter from her own mother.